Welcome to our new learning episode. I am Teacher Nell and I will be your science teacher for today. Today, let's find out how living and non-living things interacts in tropical coral reefs and mangrove swamps ecosystem. We are now on the 6th week of our second quarter day 2. At the end of the learning episode, you are expected to describe tropical coral reefs and mangrove swamps ecosystems appear. Illustrate the interactions of living and non-living things in mangrove swamps and realize the importance of a healthy ecosystems. But before we proceed to our lesson, let me ask you 5 questions. You will only choose the letter of the correct answer. Write the letter of your answer on a separate sheet of paper. Question number 1. What do you call a community of the living environment and the non-living environment? A. Ecosystem. B. Coral reefs. C. Abiotic factors. Letter D. Biotic environment. What part of the ecosystem that consists of all living organisms that live in an environment? A. Tropical coral reefs. B. Biotic environment. C. Abiotic environment. Letter D. Mangrove swamps ecosystem. What do you call the study of interactions among organisms and their environment? A. Ecology. B. Ecosystem. C. Tropical coral reefs. Letter D. Mangrove swamps ecosystem. What form of coral reefs that are located farther from the shore and are separated from land by lagoons? A. Atolls. B. Barrier reefs. C. Fringing reefs. Letter D. Tropical coral reefs. Number 5. Which of the following statements is correct? A. They provide raw materials and resources for medicines and other purposes. B. The biotic organisms in a balanced ecosystem do not interact with non-living abiotic features in the environment. C. The biotic features of ecosystems include precipitation, temperature, landscape, sunlight, soil or water, chemistry, and moisture. Letter D. The healthy ecosystems clean our water, purify our air, maintain our soil, regulate the climate, recycle nutrients, and provide us with food. In our previous lesson, we identified the living and non-living things in tropical rainforest, their appearances and their effects in the terms of harmful and beneficial interactions. Can you still recall the 4 layers of the rainforest? Let us have some simple activities to refresh your mind. Name the 4 layers of the rainforest and give an example of animals living in the specific layer as illustrated in the diagram. Did you know that living things depend on non-living matters such as water, minerals, and certain gases? In this learning episode, you will learn other kinds of ecosystems and describe some different kinds of organisms living in each environment. Likewise, you will learn in this episode how living organisms interact with other living things and how they depend on non-living things in their environment, such as air, sand, water, soil, and climate. Ecosystems include all the relationships of the plants and animals in the community. It is made up of two parts, the living and non-living environment. The living environment is called biotic environments, which consists of all living organisms that live in the environment from animals and humans to plants, fungi, and bacteria. The interactions between various biotic factors are necessary for the reproduction of each species and to fulfill essential requirements like food. The term biotic is formed by the combination of two terms, bio meaning life and ic meaning like. Thus the term means lifelike is related to all living organisms present in an ecosystem and originates from the biosphere. The non-living parts of the environment are called abiotic factors. They originate from the lithosphere, hydrosphere, and atmosphere. Abiotic factors may include air, sunlight, temperature, moisture, and light. Abiotic examples typically depend on the type of the ecosystem. Let's talk about coral reef ecosystem. A coral reef is formed out of fragments of coral sands, and solid limestones found slightly below the sea level. A coral reef may grow into a permanent coral island, often called the rainforest of the sea. Coral reefs are home to a spectacular variety of organisms. There are four forms of coral reefs. These are fringing reefs, barrier reefs, atolls, and patch reefs. Fringing reefs are visible as they are close to the shore, separated from land by water. Barrier reefs located further from the shore and separated from land by lagoons, which is about 10 meters or 30 feet deep. Atolls found offshore having a ring-shaped reef enclosing a circular lagoon. Patch reefs sometimes occur separate from the other kinds of reefs. Patch reefs have irregular table-like or pinnacle features. Smaller patches occur inside atoll lagoons. Larger patches occur as isolated parts of the larger developments of any of the other three reef categories. Coral reefs are most formed in shallow, warm tropical water along the eastern coast of continents and around oceanic islands. Another kind of ecosystem is the mangrove ecosystems. The mangroves thrive along the seashore or in the swampy areas near the sea. That is why they are often called as forest of the sea. Marine animals like sea snakes, crabs, clams, and other sea animals find their shelter at the foot of the mangrove trees or sometimes in their branches. A swamp is another ecosystem where alligators, frogs, and many other animals love to stay. It is an area of a land filled with water. There are two main types of swamps. These are the freshwater swamps and the saltwater swamps. Freshwater swamps form around lakes and streams. Rainfall and flooding cause water level to rise. Wet soil makes vegetation grow and keeps the soil moist. In the swampy condition, shadowy trees thrive in which their root system provide good shelter or habitat for nesting birds, fish, amphibians, and reptiles. There are swamps that are formed in flooded woodland. Some are formed near lakes or ponds where trees and shrubs grow. Saltwater swamps are formed in tropical coastlines in which mud and sand are thinly covered by seawater during high tides. Mangrove trees can grow and tolerate tidal flooding and soon form thickets of roots and branches. Marine animals like crabs, conches, and other shellfish grow abundantly in mangrove swamps and feed on fallen leaves and other materials. The swamps are called the nurseries of the ocean because marine animals find food and shelter there. To further enhance your knowledge about the lessons discussed, let us do some activities. Chasing Coral. A documentary from Netflix entitled Chasing Coral is bringing attention to the increasingly worrying phenomena of coral bleaching and fluorescing. Now, write a short paragraph to express your own point of view on how to prevent the increasing damages in the coral reef ecosystem. For your activity number 2, analyze the table given below. Fill the missing words to complete each statement. These are the difference between biotic environment and abiotic factors. For your activity 3, crossword puzzle. Cross out the correct answer in each definition provided in the column below. Write your answer in a separate sheet of paper. To summarize what you have learned, answer exercise 2. Supply the missing word to complete the paragraph. Write your answer on a separate sheet of paper. Have you remembered Super Typhoon Yolanda, which hit the Philippines on November 8, 2013, was one of the most powerful tropical cyclones ever recorded. On making landfall, it devastated many areas in the Philippines, particularly Tacloban City in the province of Leyte. What could have prevented the immense of damage and loss of lives is the coastal areas of Tacloban City were lined with mangroves. Mangroves would have blocked the wave or reduced their intensity and would have significantly reduced the loss of lives, considering that Tacloban is a highly populated area. Coming from this experience, many heavily populated areas in the Philippines would benefit if mangroves were planted along their coasts. Mangroves would reduce the flooding and provide a haven for many aquatic species to thrive and grow, which can be a source of sustenance and livelihood for fisherfolk. Now, do this exercise number 3. Print, recycle, and locate. Print or find a map of the Philippines showing the surrounding bodies of water. Do the following. Identify by marking with your pen where is the Pacific Ocean. Identify which parts of the Philippines are hit by the typhoons that developed from the Pacific Ocean, and identify where you think mangroves should be planted and grown. I am sure you are now equipped with the knowledge about the lessons discussed. Choose the letter of the correct answer. Write the letter of your answer on a separate sheet of paper. Question number 1. Which of the following statement is correct? A. Coral reefs are non-living ecosystem. B. Abiotic factors, also known as living environment. Letter C. The ecosystem is a community of the living and non-living environment. D. Biotic environment consists of air, sunlight, water, humidity, temperature, and type of soil. Number 2. What part of the ecosystem is consisting of non-living organisms that live in an environment? A. Tropical coral reefs. B. Biotic environment. C. Abiotic environment. Letter D. Mangrove swamps ecosystem. What do you call the place where living and non-living things exist and interact with one another in that environment? A. Ecology. B. Ecosystem. C. Biotic factors. Letter D. Abiotic environment. Number 4. What form of coral reefs that are close to the shore and separated from land by the water? A. Atolls. B. Fringing reefs. C. Barrier reefs. Letter D. Tropical coral reef. Which of the following statements is not correct? A. Abiotic factors may include air, sunlight, temperature, moisture, and light. Letter B. The interactions between various biotic factors are necessary for the reproductions of each species. C. The biotic organisms in a balanced ecosystem do not interact with non-living abiotic features in the environment. Letter D. Healthy ecosystems clean our water, purify our air, and maintain our soil.